What would you do if you discovered that the relationship you thought was a dream come true is just a prank? Well, this is the reality of a girl named Emma. In the opening scene of Hello, I Love You, we hear a narration of a man named Andrew Miller, who prefers to be called Andy. He has always wanted to be a professional in one business or another. He has tried several businesses, and is still trying more to get what he wants. Andy is currently working as a production manager for a TV production company, which is the lowest in the chain, and one of the worst production companies. While Andy was growing up, he did not have friends, and did not date any ladies, just because he wanted to achieve his goal. Andy's life is, however, about to change with the idea in his mind. The production company Andy is working for is about to have a brainstorming meeting for every production manager to pitch their idea for the greatest reality TV show, which they believe will win viewers over to them. Andy, on the other hand, is being by one of the top production managers, as they are all getting set for the lead production manager. As the lead manager enters, they all start pitching their ideas to him, but he does not like any of the ideas, because he believes they cannot be great. He then asks the production managers to leave. Andy is the last to leave the boardroom. Andy is tempted to speak to him, but the fear in his heart makes him withdraw his actions. Getting back to the office, Andy is moody because he did not pitch his show. Andy has been talking about the show for a year and has yet to pitch it. Andy goes back to the boardroom with all the pain to meet the lead production manager, and he has an idea. The manager does not know Andy, even after he introduces himself and tells him what he does for him daily. However, he agrees to listen to his idea for 30 seconds. Now there are two things involved. They will only talk if he likes the idea, or he will be fired if he does not like the idea. Andy agrees with his terms and conditions, and starts explaining his idea. Andy's idea is to create a reality show that focuses on a guy randomly asking ladies on the street to marry him, but will eventually find a way to convince one of the girls, saying no to go on a date with him for some time. Then he will ask the girl out again, to see if the lady will still say no. The manager likes the idea and wants Andy to execute it, informing him that he will be the one in the reality show, and he will be given some money for the dates. Also, he will need his small crew to try it out and see if it will work out, and if Andy can make it work, he will make sure that he pushes the show to the studio owners. In another scene, two friends, Emma and Mandy, are driving down and talking about boys, while Emma pranks Mandy into believing she has hit someone with the car. Emma suggests that they go and get things they can use to dig the ground and bury the person they just hit. This freaks Mandy out, and she runs out of the car, because she does not want to be an accomplice in Emma's request. After Mandy is far away from the car, the guy stands up, and it turns out to be the same guy Emma has been discussing with Mandy. At the end of the day, Emma is about to claim her victory in the prank. They have been pulling pranks on one another for 2 years, and they are trying to outdo one another with each of the pranks. They are not expected to do 2 pranks simultaneously, but they are expected to retaliate after the other person has done her prank. Mandy reveals that she is already making plans for her prank. Even though it is a rule to not prank twice, they can still make plans for the next prank. Mandy mentions that her next prank might change Emma's life forever. In the next scene, we see Andy, who is planning to start as the host of his show. He calls his dad for some cameramen, and the guys that show up are all dressed up in superhero costumes. Andy is confused as to what they can offer, and wants to leave them, but they convince him that they are capable of the job he is about to give them, telling him they want to change the world of movie creation, even though they do not have any idea of how they will achieve the dream. They all then kickstart the work, as Andy goes ahead with the TV show by first talking about the video camera crew, before going to the street to start the show. Real Man and Boom Boy, the video camera crew, then explain to Andy how he will manage himself out there with the mic on him. Andy starts receiving different punishments from all the ladies he has been meeting. This is a great way to kickstart the show, because this is the reality of life. However, this is just a little part of the show, because Andy has to find a way to convince someone to go on several dates with him, and to be able to propose again to the person. The lead production manager will not mind if Andy keeps getting by ladies, but will enjoy it more when the next stage of the show can be achieved, because he is confident and ready to pitch the show idea to the studio owner. After the meeting with the lead producer, Andy steps out. Mike, the one who bullies Andy, comes to meet him and offer his support. But by just looking at his face, it is obvious that he is jealous of Andy for getting the show. Mike then goes to the lead producer, and only then does the true intention of the lead producer become known. He is already pitching the idea to the studio owner, but he did not say whose idea it is. He is hoping Andy brings in the show, and it is successful. Then he will take credit for it while also giving Mike the producer's position. However, if the show does not turn out well, Andy will be the only one to take the fall. Regardless, he wants the show to be successful, and tells Mike to make sure Andy comes through. The next scene shows Andy on the street again, trying to find someone else. This time around, he is in the presence of Emma, as he politely requests to sit close to her and introduce himself to her. Emma does not want to tell him her name, and as a matter of fact, she does not want to entertain his advances. While she is about to go, Andy carefully makes sure she does not leave, before asking Emma to marry him. She is confused, and this looks awkward to her. She tries to get something from her bag, and this gives Andy the chance to talk about the pepper spray ladies use on strangers they do not want to talk to. After going back and forth, Emma decides to leave the scene totally for him, but Andy asks them to go on several dates. He assures her that after the dates, if he proposes and she says no, he will never disturb her again. Emma does not want to agree to the offer, even though he is paying for all the dates. While she is about to leave, Andy mentions that the decision could change her life. Hearing this resonates with Emma's friend, Mandy, especially since they are used to pranking each other. Her friend's excitement makes Emma believe it is a prank from her, and she agrees to play along. Emma then walks back to Andy and asks him to turn around and take off his clothes so she can view who she is considering. She sees Andy's chest with a purple nipple, and she makes a joke about it. She then gets his number and agrees to go on several dates with him for some time, to see if Andy will meet her requirements. Each date will be about meeting one requirement or another. Andy reflects on the time he spent with Emma on TV, and believes Emma will laugh after all the dates, and take the check when she realizes it is reality TV. After meeting Andy, Emma goes to Zach, who is now Mandy's boyfriend, to tell him about the prank she believes Mandy has plagiarized for her. Emma is using Zach as a witness for the early stages of the prank, before starting to go on a date with the man. She wants to pretend as if she is falling in love with Andy, and that when Andy dumps her, she will feel sad, making it look as if Mandy won. After that, she'll come out straight and reveal that she knew all along, and use Zach as a witness. Zach agrees, even though he knows it will affect him if all goes as Emma plans. Back in the TV production studio, the lead manager mentions the audience of the show to both Andy and Mike, so that they can get the plan for the show. The show is to have 13 episodes, and the final episode will be when Andy proposes to Emma. Mike is also selected to co-produce the show, which surprises Andy and makes him want to revolt. But seeing the expression of the lead production manager, he decides to follow what they want. When Andy leaves, the producer orders Mike to make sure the dates are entertaining, and he can embarrass Andy as much as he likes. However, he should ensure it will not make the girl quit. Mark understands, and already has some things in mind. The next day, Mike meets the Andy camera crew, and is surprised to see that the cameramen are in superhero outfits. Andy explains that they are good at their job. Even though Andy has spoken to the restaurant, Mike still insists he will speak with them to make some plans that can embarrass Andy on the show. He also set up a series of sponsors for the show, which he did not mention to Andy earlier, and this does not make him happy. He does not understand how a sponsor can set up a show that is not yet accepted, but he agrees with Mike's decision. Andy then goes into the restaurant to sit, waiting for Emma. Looking at Andy, one can see how nervous he is. He is nervous because he does not go out that much, and because he is doing the date on a reality TV show. Emma can also see that Andy is nervous, as his composition is a little bit off from when they met and he asked her to marry him. Andy gives her a creepy gift, and she likes it. They start communicating, and they get to know what they both like. When they are about to take orders, Andy tries to make the order for the two of them, but it seems Emma does not like all he is ordering for her. She then gets to know that he has not been on many dates. She then asks about his childhood, and explains that the things Andy did not do would have helped him discover who he is, instead of doing different work and not having a fun life. Emma cannot believe he has only gone on 5 dates, because she feels he doesn't look bad. She wants to know about his job, but he can't tell her he is into TV show production. Mike sees it as an opportunity to use one of the sponsors. Emma buys everything he says, and agrees to follow him to some of the jobs he claims he is doing. After the first date, Andy reviews it and concludes that Emma is wise in a good way. Emma goes back home to try and see if she will get a reaction from her friend Mandy, because she still believes that it's another prank. But she does not get the reaction she is expecting from her. Emma, however, still believes it is a prank, and she is only trying not to show it in her reactions. The next scene shows Andy dressing in a funny costume as the ice cream man, and Emma tags along. The scene with the kids goes in an awkward way, after the kids and the parents start chasing after Andy for making the wrong comment. Emma, on the other hand, supports Andy and counts everything as fun. Later, it is seen that one of the parents planned to make the scene go bad for Andy, and he gets paid for it. Andy is not pleased with the second date, but then the show keeps going on. Mike comes into Andy's office to warn him never to get any ideas related to him telling Emma about the show. He wants him to remember his dream, if the show eventually comes through, and not jeopardize it. Andy promises that he will not spill the beans. They set off for the next stage, even though Andy does not want to go through with it. But he has no options, as Mike says it will be great. The next stage is Emma entering a haunted zombie house, as that is where they will be having their next date. Emma enters and starts moving from one location to another. When she finally reaches Andy, she screams with excitement, because she loves what she sees. Emma loves scary movies, and being in a set like this makes her excited. Andy lies about coming back to work, and that he will have to follow her with the costume on him to the chocolate shop date, and this excites Emma, who asks if she can have some makeup as well. This was Mike's plan, but he did not expect Emma would be ready to put on some makeup as well. While they are on the date, Andy advertises a commercial in front of Emma. A few minutes into their date, a young lady comes in to claim the seat. They are just trying to ruin their date, but Emma confronts the girl and refuses to leave the seat for her. While they are talking, the girl keeps staring at Emma, but they are having a moment, and tension is building up between them. Andy then leans forward toward Emma, thinking of catching a kiss, but the table presses his makeup, making her scream. This makes Andy happy even more. The girl rushes to Mike to demand more money because the stain on her body is not part of the plan. All of Mike's plans for Andy have backfired, and it is making Emma like Andy more. The next day, Emma goes to her friend Mandy, and she sees her having a moment with Zach. They are checking through Mandy's old pictures, and they are laughing about it. Emma joins them in the fun. Zach and Mandy get all lovey-dovey, and they exchange kisses. Emma then suggests Mandy should also show her best moment to Zach. This excites her, as she rushes in to find it. This allows Emma to confirm with Zach if Mandy has said anything about a prank, but Zach still does not have any clue about any prank. He realizes Emma is already liking Andy. He then advises her to tell Andy how she feels, but she is afraid to tell him, because if he doesn't like her, it means Mandy has indeed pranked her. Zach, on the other hand, feels she should not lose the opportunity to be in a real relationship, even if it's a prank. When Mandy gets back, she wonders what they are talking about, but they deny talking about anything. Andy and Emma then go on several other dates that bring them closer to one another. It is not difficult to see the chemistry between them. After one of the dates, they start talking, and they start having tension between them. Both of them are about to kiss, and when their lips almost touch, Mike talks to them to break the kiss. This looks awkward to Emma because she wants the kiss, and is surprised Andy did not go through with it. Andy, on the other hand, changes to one of the commercials. But this does not get Andy's attention. She is pained for not getting a kiss, but eventually talks about her coming birthday. In the studio, Andy is asked to come and see the rough cut of episode 4, but he does not like what he is seeing. He feels the character of Emma they are showing is bad, and does not say all about the Emma he is going out with. The lead producer looks at Andy in dismay, and asks him if he wants to teach him how to do the job. Andy sees his expression and gives up on his opinion, even though he does not like what is going on. The next scene shows Emma entering her house, and seeing a bunch of men and Mandy carrying a cake, and singing a happy birthday song for her. The sight breaks Emma's heart, and she feels like entering and disappearing. She takes a picture of them and runs away. Later, Mandy shows Emma that it is her prank, but Emma argues with her that the rule is not to do 2 pranks simultaneously. This is when Emma eventually challenges Mandy about Andy. Finally, she realizes that Andy is not Mandy's prank. This makes things worse for Emma, as she now knows she has been going on a date with a total stranger, not a prank. Emma and Andy are supposed to go out for her birthday dinner, but Mandy advises her to avoid his call and not go out with him again. Emma reveals that she likes Andy, but she follows Mandy's instructions. Andy eventually crashes with Real Man and Boom Boy, because Emma does not show up for their date. The only thing that makes Andy happy that Emma did not show up is the way they are editing the show, but he wants to keep on seeing Emma. Real Man and Boom Boy decide to help Andy by making investigations on Emma. Real Man shows up at her side to ask her out. Unfortunately for them, Zach shows up, and they assume she is in a relationship with Zach, which is why she stopped showing up for the dates with Andy. She also uses the pepper spray Andy suggested for her on Real Man. Real Man and Boom Boy then break the news of Emma's relationship with Andy. They have gone far with the episodes for the series, but they need an ending, which can only happen with Andy asking Emma out. The lead producer then instructs Andy to do anything in his best capacity to make him have just a little time with Emma, so that they can make an ending. Several scenes of Andy and Emma going to the first place they met at different times start flashing up, until the final moment when Andy texts Emma, telling her it will be the last time he will reach out to her, even though he enjoyed their time together, and wishes her the best. This message breaks Emma's heart, and she wants to respond, but she throws her phone away without responding. Andy, in another scene, runs to the lead producer to tell him that Emma has texted back, and wants to see him at the park. The producer then makes arrangements for the setup and the camera, and ignores Andy's team. Andy gets to the park to meet Emma, and she apologizes for disappearing. Emma wants to explain the reason why she disappeared, but Andy does not let her explain, as he claims he knows why. Andy thinks the reason she disappeared was because of her boyfriend, whereas the reason she disappeared was because of the prank. He pours his heart out to Emma. It is obvious that all he is saying is coming from his heart, and he proposes to Emma. Just as Emma says yes, and is about to collect the ring from Andy, the whole crew comes out with a camera and a check for Emma. This is where Emma knows it is a reality TV show. This breaks her heart more than a prank, and she leaves the crew and Andy. The show ends, and Mike gives it a wrap. However, Andy is not happy, because he likes Emma and wants to spend the rest of his life with her. Emma is also sad as she explains the situation to her friend Mandy. Even though she likes reality TV, she does not want to be on a show. She believes Andy does not care about her, which is why she is sad, because she likes him, but everything he said turned out to be a lie. Andy is heartbroken, and Emma does not pick up his call ever again. In the next scene, Mike and the lead producer call Andy so that they can give Emma a contract for $20,000, so she can grant them a license to use the video. Andy explains that Emma will not pick up his call. They reveal that she is in the building for the money, but she gave the condition that she will only sign the contract if Andy brings it. He agrees to take the contract to her. While he is going to Emma reluctantly, Mike touches him like he always does, but Andy gives him a stare, warning him not to touch him again before stepping out. Andy tries to convince Emma not to sign the contract because of the way they portray her character, but she ignores his explanations. He also confesses that all he said during the proposal indeed came from his heart, and not from the script, but she does not believe him as she signs the contract and takes the check. Andy gets the contract back from Mike, and he announces that he is quitting, but the lead producer tells him he is fired. Emma, on the other hand, also rips the check into pieces as she cries. The only thing Andy regrets is losing Emma, and not losing his benefit to the show. Andy is now friends with Real Man and Boom Boy, as they see him sad every single time. The next scene then shows that Andy is requested to come and work again at his former company, with a juicy offer. Andy agrees to go. When Andy gets to the boardroom, everyone claps for him, and it seems as if they are excited to see him. Andy knows something is wrong, but agrees to play along. The lead producer then explains that the show performed excellently during the test, and the show will go on air, which is why they want to offer Andy a new contract as a producer. Andy realizes that the reason they want him back is because the contract he signed as a production assistant did not include him being on the screen, and using the videos is impossible. This is why the new contract, to amend it and give him a chance to be on the screen. Andy checks the contract and starts amending it before signing. He mentions that Mike should be fired, and that he will need higher pay. The lead producer agrees to his terms. This surprises Mike, because he does not believe he could be easily betrayed just by a mere word from Andy. Despite meeting all of Andy's requirements, he still refuses to sign the contract, and decides to leave after telling every producer that he just proved to them they were not valuable to the company, by Mike being fired with just a word he says. While Andy is about to leave, the lead producer threatens to go after Emma if he does not sign the contract, because the contract with Emma for payment is only valid if the show goes online. He then brings another contract with lesser payment, and reinstates all the conditions he previously allowed for Andy. To protect Emma, Andy agrees to sign the contract, even though he is not happy with it. However, Mike stops Andy from handing over the contract to the lead producer, mentioning that Emma tore up the check given to her, and she only came to sign the contract believing she was protecting Andy. Andy then rips up the contract. Mike decides to leave, and every other producer joins him too. The lead producer threatens to fire them, but they ignore him. While Andy is packing, Real Man and Boom Boy call him to inform him of all the drama that unfolded at the studio. They also have a show in the company, and Mike is now the lead producer, so he wants Andy back. Andy is happy for Real Man and Boom Boy, but is not sure he wants to go back to the studio, because he wants to travel somewhere to clear his head, especially since Emma has blocked him, so he cannot call her. The next scene shows Emma at the park, coming to meet Andy with the same kind of weird teddy bear Andy gave her on their first date. Emma then retries the script Andy used on her when they first met at the same park, and Andy flows with it. Just like the way Andy talks about proposals, Emma asks if they can go on a few dates and see if he will propose to her. Andy agrees, but just like Emma, he asks to see the merch Andy, and asks Emma to turn for him. She turns fast at first, but later does it slowly and sexually. Andy cannot ask Emma to remove her clothes, but since they are just a few inches away from one another, Andy holds her and kisses Emma passionately.